Have you ever ran into a situation that you study or you read so much, but you just keep forgetting or losing important information, or maybe halfway through the book already, but you realize this book is kind of useless to you? After days or maybe years of struggling, and you might have this question for the longest time. Number one, how do I know if a book is worth my time to read it? And number two, how to properly read a book and remember the information that I need. In the next 6 minutes, I'm going to explain the questions by introducing you the book, How to Read a Book. It's kind of weird, but anyways, this book has been receiving a ton of positive feedbacks as it's ranked 4.6 out of 5 on Amazon. And I highly recommend you to get this book if you want to read more to change your life or maybe helping your kids to build their reading habits. So without further ado, let's get into it. A lot of people would choose to read from cover to cover, and that is actually the lowest level of reading. You are only looking for information but not really thinking, and that's what we call stage 1, elementary reading. You might not know what exactly you're looking for, just simply attracted by the cover or let's say the topic of the book. It's like you're walking through a shelves of books and suddenly you saw something very interesting, and maybe it's about business, maybe a biography of Elon Musk. You pick it up and start reading from the beginning to the end, and that's stage 1. Well, you don't have to do that. Actually, don't do that. And I'm going to introduce a better way of reading later on. But if you're still at stage 1, that's totally fine. Don't worry, don't panic. And there are 2 things that can help you to improve your efficiency. Number 1 is reduce fixations. What it means is the jumps your eyes make. So if you want to read fast, don't read word by word. What you need to do is to jump. It's like your eyes are cameras and you just keep taking photos with your eyes sentence by sentence. If you're interested and you'd like to know more about speed reading, make sure you leave a comment down below because there is a book about how to improve your reading speed. And I can definitely talk about that book in another video. And the second thing you can do is to reduce the time that you spend rereading. And there are 2 tricks that can help you to reduce the rereading. Number 1 is to use a pencil along the way down the page while reading. And number 2 is don't read it out. Even though it's very quiet, but don't read it out, because that reduces your speed. And if you pass the stage already and you're able to at least finish the book, but you're not really learning or remembering the core of this book, now it's time to get to the second stage. This is the first thing that you need to do as a more advanced reader. We call that inspectional reading. You have to understand one thing, not all of the books are worth your time reading. Some books might not be structured properly or might be too difficult for you to read. And you need to learn to manage your time more efficiently. And you will be able to identify whether this book is worth your time to read by inspecting the overall structure of the book. And there are 2 important parts here. Number 1 is called systematic skimming. So skimming, a lot of people understand this. It means quickly go through the cover page, table of content, and so on. And if you're attracted, look at the titles, some figures, graphs, or tables, read a few paragraphs or a few pages under the subtitles that attracts you, and don't forget to read the last 2 pages of the chapters that you're interested in, because usually that contains condensed conclusion. After you've done that, now you should be able to draw the big picture of this book and able to tell what it is about. If you say, yeah, it seems interesting and I want to carry on, great, then you can go to the next step. We call that superficial reading. So when you do superficial reading, you take a few notes and skip the things that you don't understand immediately, because you might solve the question if you keep reading. The answer might be in a later paragraph. You know, it's like dating. You get to know the person progressively. You go out for a few days and you know each other. Then you decide if you want to go on, right? Same thing as reading a book. But, well, of course, some people might just jump to the marriage directly. Well, if that's what you want to do, fine. A lot of people realize afterwards that it was a waste of time. Now, after a few days with the book, back and forth and stuff, you think this book can really help you to learn. Then you need to be serious and go on to the next stage. We call that analytical reading. And at this stage, you are truly having a conversation with the author and start thinking and understanding. But that conversation must come with your own mind map. At this stage, you have to pay more attention at details. Take notes if you find something important or inspiring or interesting. After that, you try to organize, outline, and do a mind map of the book. After you've done the mind map, now you have a clearer or better vision of the entire book. And here comes the best part of it. Try to introduce the book to yourself again. Imagine you talking to someone and you try to introduce this book to that person. How would you talk about this book? What kind of main points that you want to abstract from this book? And you will realize something very interesting. When you do that, you will come up with some questions and maybe start wondering, really? Is that true? What if? Write down these questions because they are priceless. And then you try to think like the author, what he or she really wants to say or answer these questions. And when you do that, it's actually a lot of fun. So you try to be open-minded, okay? Don't be too stubborn. In general, it will help you so much to have a better understanding of the book if you start summarizing and start asking questions about the book or even making criticize about this book. You know, just be active with your mind. And of course, there's so much more about this book. We cannot cover everything within this short 6 or 8 minutes of the video. So I'll put a link of this book down below in the description. I'd highly recommend you to check it out. If you have any questions about self-development, you know, in a different area, business, career, relationship, or maybe psychology, please leave me a comment down below. I'll read the book for you and then make a summary so you can save the time before you purchase the book and actually start reading it.